I have to eat soft stuff.
Well, I'm at Big Meadows Lodge and I'm looking at a fire. And you know what I'm always looking for? I'm also looking for hikers. I found a hiker yesterday here in the Shenandoah Lodge. And we're getting ready to talk to her and get some information. Sherry's talking to her right now. But we've had a great time here at Shenandoah Lodge for the last 4 or 5 days. We've caught a few hikers and helped them. Now we're moving down south, getting closer to Springer. So I'm going to see who we got here.
Okay.
All right, give us your trail name.
Hey, I'm Mama Goose.
Mama Goose. Tell me a little bit about yourself, Mama Goose.
Well, my trail name is Mama Goose. I thru-hiked with the Warrior Hike in 2013. And that was on the AT. And then I hiked on the PCT in 15. I did the Mountains to Sea Trail in 14 and the Benton McKay Trail in 14. And now I'm out for 2.5 months going southbound.
Now you also help the Warrior Hikers every year, I believe.
Yep, I start them out every year. I start at Springer with them and hike with them for about 3 days.
Okay.
Just to kind of get them, you know, acclimatized to being out there, and if they have any questions or anything. So just help them as much as I can, give them some trail magic along the way. And this year, a few of them stayed with me at my house in Murphy, North Carolina. And
that's where you're from, Murphy?
No, I'm from Chicago.
But you live in Murphy?
I live in Murphy, yeah.
That's strange that you say that, because years ago, my dad found a campground out of Murphy, North Carolina. It's no longer there.
Oh.
And he used to, all 4 of his boys, all of us would go up and spend the month of August with them at Murphy, North Carolina.
Okay.
And that was 35, 40 years ago. And it was a little bitty town back then. There
It's
was
still
nothing.
pretty small.
Yeah, small, but
yeah.
if you can imagine 40 years ago.
Oh, I can't.
Had a little old flea market out of town, and we'd go every day on Saturday. Now tell me how you got involved in the trail in the beginning. What made you hike the trail in 2013?
I was living up in North Idaho at the time that I read Bill Bryson's A Walk in the Woods, and I always liked to hike anyways. So I decided I wanted to do the AT, and I'm a physical therapist, a traveling PT, so I took a position in Charlotte so I could get closer to the Appalachian Trail, and eventually moved up to Asheville in 2012, and actually did the Shenandoah National Park in 2012. That was my first real big backpacking.
That was your practice hike?
That was my practice hike. That was the first time that I hiked a long distance.
Right in the middle of the bears and all.
Yeah, I loved it though.
Yeah.
And so I decided I wanted to do the AT in 2013 and ran across a Warrior hike and Sean Gobin. And so I joined those guys, joined them and decided to hike with them, and it was awesome. And ever since then, it's pretty much changed my life. So
yeah, it does most people, as you well know.
Oh yeah.
And now, of course, you and I have got some friends in common.
Oh yeah.
One called Fresh Ground. Fresh Ground, and you've known Fresh Ground for a good while, I believe. I
have, yep. I've seen him on the trail a few times, and I have the honor, I think, of giving him his first trail magic at Gooch Gap. Myself and Cashmere, Susan Hornbuckle. She's a Triple Crowner now.
Good.
We gave him some trail magic, and I'm going to see him when I get south of the park.
Yeah.
So I look forward to that.
I talked to him yesterday, and he's excited to come back out and do some more trail magic for the end of the season. Now, I know you help a lot of hikers. You know, you don't talk about it a lot, but I know you help a lot of hikers, and you've been out here a lot just doing trail magic on your own. What's the thing that you've learned that just stays with you and tugs at your heart, having been part of the Appalachian Trail?
I think the main thing about the AT is the community. You know, like seeing you yesterday when I needed to get up to Lewis Mountain Campground. That was awesome. Just the community and the kind and the strength and the depth of friendship that you make with other hikers and trail angels and, you know, everyone along the trail. It's like a big family. And, you know, again, I've done the MST and the PCT, but there's nothing like the AT. You know, the AT is like, you know, like coming home. It really is. I mean, like right now I'm out here for 2.5 months. I was helping while I was taking care of my mom. She was sick for about 4 months, and she's okay, thank God. But
Right.
took a lot out of me, you
Oh,
know. And,
yeah.
I needed a break,
Yeah.
and for me, I know where to go.
In the woods.
You know, in the woods, and especially the AT. You know, I mean, I was thinking about the Arizona Trail, but I know the AT, you know, and I know I can get off and get resupplies, and I know that, you know, there's support along the way. So it's like an old friend.
Mama Goose, share with people that are watching, and we've got a good bit of subscribers that are talking about hiking the Appalachian Trail from a woman's perspective. Share a little bit about what you think would be important for a woman that's thinking about doing the AT, now that you've done it and you know a little bit about it.
Well, I mean, as a woman, it's very safe. You know, that's the big thing. It's very, very safe. I don't carry any weapons. I don't even carry bear spray. I have a little knife. But there's no issues as far as safety goes. I've never had any issues, and I've been out here for a long time.
Don't you see that, I'll just kind of talk with you about it. Sure. Don't you see that what I've noticed talking to so many hikers is the women feel safe because they realize when they get with a group, if one guy steps out of line, the rest of them step in. Is that kind of what you see?
Big time. Big time. And I'm older, so I don't have to worry about that anyways. And I hike by myself mostly. I really don't hike in a group that often, you know, so.
So that tells you there, you're saying that you don't feel threatened out by yourself on the trail?
Nope, never. Never feel threatened.
And the bears have never been?
No, I've seen 3 bears in the last 10 days. And they run from you.
Oh, yeah.
They want nothing to do with you.
That's right. And a lot of people are so afraid of them that, you know, they kind of destroy their hike.
They're beautiful.
I know.
They're beautiful animals. The thing that you need to be very scared of is the mice. Not in the shelters. They won't bother you too much in the shelters. But if you're in your tent and you have food in your tent, they will go through the screen of
They'll get in
through the netting, and they will come in.
I saw last year.
That's happened to me twice.
What was funny, last year we were helping some hikers. They come out and they was going to open, one of them was going to open their pack. We was giving trail magic, and a mouse run out of the pack right there in front of us. And they shoot a hole in the, I believe, pack.
Those are the bad things.
Yeah,
that's the worst thing.
And if that's the worst thing that can happen, that ain't too bad.
That's exactly it.
Okay, we're getting ready to take you up to Lewis Mountain. That's where you slack packed back here yesterday. And then you're going to hike about how many miles today?
Today, 15.2.
15?
Yeah.
Decent terrain.
High top, and then tomorrow, Loft Mountain Campground, but I don't know if there's going to be any camping spots, but you can always stealth. Yeah,
I went there yesterday, and there's lots.
Oh, good.
There's not as many people there.
Okay.
So, anything else you want to share or say hello or encouraging to anybody before we get in the truck and go toward Lewis Mountain?
I think the main thing as far as being a woman, again, being out here, if you want to do something that empowers you big time, get out on the AT, you know, or the PCT, but especially the AT. It will empower you. You'll feel like you can do anything, especially after the through hiking. And but get out here. It's fun.
Thank you for taking time to talk to us, and
You're welcome, Jimmy.
God bless you for everything you do for the community.
Absolutely. Take care.
I got me another through hiker here. I just caught him yesterday, and I'm getting ready to talk to her and get some information. She's sitting in the sun. I guess she may be a little cold. Give us your name, your trail name.
Steady.
Steady? How'd you get that name?
When I started, I was pretty slow, and my friends Mud and Strider would get to the campsite before me by hours. And so then other people would ask them, since they knew me, should we go help her? Like, should we, you know, go look back and look for her, take her pack, something? And they're like, no, she's steady, she's gonna get here, da-da-da-da. And so then I'd get to the shelter and they're like, see, we told you she's steady. And so they're like, that's your trail name.
That's a cool name.
It is a good name. It's been like a mantra the whole trip.
And you're from where, Steady?
Oklahoma.
What part of Oklahoma?
Central Oklahoma.
Okay.
So around Oklahoma City.
I've been to Oklahoma City during the bombing. I was out there for the bombing.
Yeah.
Now, what made you decide to through hike the Appalachian Trail?
It seemed like the right thing to do.
At the right time?
At the right time. I learned about it about 10 years ago, and it was just time.
Or did you have to quit a job or anything to come out here?
Yeah.
Will you go back to that same job or that type of work?
Maybe. I'm still trying to figure that out. I have the opportunity to. My boss and my family have all been very supportive of this adventure, so it's definitely an option.
Now you said they've been supportive of this adventure. I usually ask hikers, how important is that support group back home?
Oh, it's everything.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to do it without it.
Right. And you started when?
At the end of April.
End of April.
I've been out here a long time.
And why did you decide to flip-flop instead of the traditional northbound?
I wanted to have the time to get to Katahdin before it closed and have that pressure off. The conservation of the trail, trying to keep the big bubble that happens in the south coming north. I didn't really want to be fighting for tent sites with 50 people or something like that, and ended up meeting a lot of cool people that way too. A lot of different types of hikers flip-flopping, so it's kind of fun.
Plus y'all met a lot of northbounders.
Yeah,
because
and southbounders.
Yeah, and so you got the best of both worlds, in my opinion.
I think so.
I think you made a good decision.
Thanks.
Has all your equipment worked for you right?
For the most part, I've had to switch my air mattress a couple of times. The one I had for years started leaking, and I got a new one, and then that one started leaking, and so now I have another one. But that's been the only thing. That
Okay.
and my shoes.
I hear you.
had to change out my shoes.
How many pair of shoes? Are you on your second?
I'm on my third.
Third. That's okay. That's okay too, because you've got 900 miles left, and so you may end up being on your fifth.
Right.
My
and
wife used 4.
My first pair I switched out pretty early.
Okay.
Because they just weren't working for they didn't have a big enough toe box.
Okay. Steady, has everything kind of went as planned, or is anything okay? Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, when I started, I was not in shape, and most people who start, they're not in prime shape for
Right.
hiking. That's kind of extremes, I guess. So I was very slow. I ended up spraining both my ankles in Pennsylvania. I got an infection in my saliva gland in New York and had to get off, and then knee problems and financial problems and things like that. And just not being able to keep up with the timeline that I had planned.
What had you planned? How long did you want to do?
I thought I'd be done by now.
Oh, really? In 6 months?
Yeah.
Basically?
So it'll probably be December before I'm done.
Yeah, y'all going to be in the Smokies probably in a bad time, but that's just part of
Yeah, that's
making
something
it.
we're talking about. We're trying to come up with a plan.
Yeah. Now, anything that's in front of you between here and the end that you're looking forward to?
I mean, I like the fall colors, and so
Right.
what was cool about being as late as we got to go through the north, like through New Hampshire and Maine when fall was really, the colors were coming out, and now we get to do it again.
Right, right.
So I'm looking forward to seeing that, even though the cold is a little intimidating. Winter hiking is intimidating, but I'll get to see fall again.
How'd y'all sleep last night? Because it was in the upper 20s.
We did good.
Okay.
We squished all to one side of the shelter, and then 2 other guys showed up and kind of filled the top half, and
Okay.
and so we were pretty okay. I actually had to unzip my tent because I got overheated. I had too many layers on.
Unzip some, okay. Good. And then you're going to be in the upper 20s or lower 30s tonight, and you're going to Pinefield Hut, I believe?
Yeah.
I think it's Pinefield Hut. You're doing a 20-mile day today,
Yes.
and you're slack packing, so how does it feel so far? You've got about 8 miles or 9 miles under your belt, I believe.
Oh, I'm feeling really good.
Good.
I'm feeling good.
Okay. You've
It's
got about
really
10
awesome.
point something left, I think you just said. And I don't want to keep you any longer. Anybody you want to say hello to, or any words of encouragement that somebody's looking at this and saying, you know what, I think I may want to try to do that?
My family, hello. But I think as far as words of encouragement is, if you're going to come out here, you got to have the mental strength to push through. Because like the physical stuff will come, but it's the mental stuff of this sucks so hard right now, but you just have to push through, or you're uncomfortable, you're cold, or you're wet and cold, and you just have to be able to push through and know that even if you're alone.
Let's wait till the car go by. That's the bad thing about interviewing when we're on here. But you're giving some good advice, so I want you to continue when you said, and when you're alone.
When you're alone, because I hiked alone for 800 miles because I was at a different pace than everybody. Everybody around me had 1,000 miles on me, no matter where I was. And I didn't meet my trail family until 800 miles in. And like you have to be able to encourage yourself and make yourself keep going and motivate yourself. And then when you do find your tribe or your people or the people that encourage you and give you strength to keep going, like then it just is a bonus and it makes it even better. And I was lucky to find that right before the whites.
Yeah,
so.
now we're going to miss her, but try not to get her on camera. So go ahead and tell us the people you've been hiking around the last few days.
Well, I've been hiking. I hiked all of New Hampshire and Maine with Wolfpack and Holiday. And they're two girls. Wolfpack is doing a flip-flop as well. And Holiday did a really long lash, so she did a 1,400 miles. She's done the whole thing, but she finished her 1,400 mile lash on Katahdin.
Okay.
So she's back at home. And then this last week we had another guy join us, and his name was Tag Along.
Yeah.
He's doing sections. He's not through hiking.
Yeah, we helped him this morning, Tag Along, and we sorry we didn't catch Wolfpack on the camera, but I know she was in a hurry too. So what have you learned out here about yourself?
I don't know that I have more strength and tenacity than I thought I did.
Absolutely. If you've done this far, you have.
To push through some really difficult stuff and, you know, just keep going and try to find the happy parts and focus on those. The trail is definitely type 2 fun, and so as you get done with certain sections and you start to look back and you're like, oh, that section was kind of fun, or that was some good times, or those were good laughs or whatever. And so I know when I get completely done, I'll be able to look back and be like, oh, this was an amazing trip.
You know, you're one of the few that use that type 2 fun on camera.
Really?
There's only a couple of 2 or 3 of y'all that said that.
Yeah.
And I've explained it, you know, about how it's hard and it sucks while it's happening, but later on you look at it in a different light.
Absolutely.
It makes a difference.
It's 100% true.
But you've come a long way already. You've got several miles left to go. But you've got a great attitude. I just want to say that to you on the camera.
Thanks.
Congratulate you for what you've done and what you're going to do for the rest of this. I always tell people this at close to the closing of the interview. I ask them, did they personally know a thru hiker before they started?
Yeah, I did. It's a couple of them.
When you first met them, did that impress you that they had hiked the Appalachian Trail?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, let me ask you a question. Do you realize that you're going to be the first person that many, many people ever meet that's ever hiked the Appalachian Trail?
Yeah, I do know, because people have already told me.
Okay.
From like my Instagram and things like that people follow me.
They're already excited about knowing somebody personally.
About what I've already done.
Right. To know you personally.
Yeah, and so people message me and do all this different stuff, and it's kind of a cool thing that, that people are so encouraging. Like even strangers that I've never met. It's enjoyable.
That's a big accomplishment.
It is. It's huge.
Okay, we're going to let off and let you get to hiking, but again, we're glad we met you, and good luck, and God bless every step between here and Katahdin.
Well, Springer.
No, Springer, that's right. Yeah. Hey, I'm glad you caught that. I'm glad you caught another mistake of mine. Yeah, God bless every step between here and Katahdin. Here in Springer.
Yeah. And thank you for your help.
Okay.
This was awesome.
Okay, and we'll catch you later.
All right.